Welcome everyone back to Pommy and Oz. Hope we're all doing really well. If you're new around here, make sure you hit that like button, hit that subscribe. It really helps the channel out. I can't thank you enough for the support. And we're here today to look at the VFL, the Carlton reserves winning 111, playing 91 against Port Melbourne. And it was really, let's have an overview of the game. The overview of the game was simple. The Blues, albeit for a little blip in the third quarter where Port Melbourne really started coming back, they controlled the game really well. Port really did showcase some real strong pressure around the ball, and it did really affect the Blues in the third quarter. But all in all, their experience, particularly the cool heads of Alex Chinkota and Ashton Moyer, but also Jackson Binns, really providing just enough zip in that game to really help them out. Will White was absolutely phenomenal this game for the Blues. He really was a handful and kicking goals in real important moments. And then in the fourth quarter, the Blues ran away with it. They really did showcase their skills. It's quite interesting that if the VFL could start the game for us and the Blues seniors finish the game for us, we're probably in a real happy place and probably would never lose a game again. But it was interesting that the Blues really did have a real big onus in this game, particularly around, you can see that training this week has really been heavy on slingshotting it out the back half of the ground. The clearance work from the Blues was pretty good. Port did win that one. The Blues being just about their average as well. This game was a real interesting game for averages because everyone did it. Port did try and negate that by going real short, sharp, and kicking around the Blues, but the Blues tackle pressure was absolutely insane. Nearly double the tackles of Port Melbourne, and that was a really good thing to see, particularly from these boys who were looking to try and break into the senior side. A player that I do want to talk about is Heath Ramshaw. He was absolutely exceptional in these clitches, and he's only 22, and he's a Northern Knights boy. We know that we do love the Northern Knights boys, as it were, and he looked absolutely sensational. Won the VFL Best and Fairest Young Player last year. He could be a shoo-in for a Smokey in that position because he plays that kind of Doc-esque role, which what they want Doc to do, and I think he's probably deserving of the senior shout. He looks a really solid competitor, and he looked like one of the senior heads in this game, and with a staggering 8 tackles. He had the most tackles on the ground, joint with Harvey Hooper from them. But the tackles were immense. Ashton Moore, Hudson O'Keefe had 6 tackles. Alex Chinkota, my boy Christian Ferrando with 4 tackles as well. Real solid little competitor there. But Heath Ramshaw's one that if you are watching the VFL, just keep an eye out. I wouldn't be surprised to see him get a berth. But all in all, a really good performance from the Blues. Really well-rounded. The little blip in the third, but they battled back hard from that and absolutely dominated in the fourth. And let's get into the players. 24 touches for Lockie Cowan, 8. So let's get into the players. And 27 touches for Jackson Binns, the reigning B&F boy. 0 goals, but 4 marks and 8 inside 50s. Back in a more offensive role this week, which was good to see from him. Really showcasing how hard he has worked. And the 3 tackles, one of them was a rundown tackle, which saved a certain goal, was really, really solid throughout and really impressive with how he's going about his work. He has added so many layers to his game, so many layers. And I think people need to really give him a little bit of kudos for this. Outside of Xavier Mayer and probably Michael Lewis, he was probably our most potent threat going forward at times and really showcased that with his give and goes and trying to bring the ball back inside and getting the team moving forward. A solid 8.5 from the gentleman. He was a real good competitor all game, and I really did enjoy what he's doing. And he won't be far off. Am I desperate to see him play seniors? Not really, to be honest, because I feel like he's adding the layers of his game. And I think when he comes into the seniors, he's going to stay there when he does get there. So a few years to run on his contract as well. Harry Lemmy, very, very, very intriguing game from this. He was a real put and threat and then played quite high up the ground. The 8 marks really showcasing his real transition into this defensive role. And also his zip inside, 3 inside 50s as well from the young lad. 2 strong tackles as well. I really like what they're doing with Lemmy. A solid 7 out of 10. He's really building quite nicely and really adding these layers of the game, which will make him a better, well-rounded footballer. See a lot of Liam Jones in him, the way that he attacks the ball. And he's got a real sweet kick as well. Real solid performance from Harry. He's building a nice little repertoire of work at the moment. The palm cutter, the chin cutter, 21 touches, 6 tackles, 8 inside 50s. The 1 clearance, 7.5, playing off halfback and then floating into the middle, particularly when the game was getting away from him. And his hard tackling, his hard energy. It felt like at times that he was maybe holding back a little bit. Wanted to see him take off a little bit more, but real solid and really becoming a leader there, giving a lot of advice to the players in and around the ground, in and around the clutches. Constantly talking, which is good. Communication is what separates the good players from the best. I find, and he's really showcasing that. He looked really comfortable on the ball, so did some nice little things. Took his snaggeroo really well as well. His goal was absolutely impeccable, really showing what he's capable of. And he won't be far away from a senior call with the injuries. He is probably the most AFL ready in this makeup. Rob Monaghan, I am really enjoying what Rob brings. The 2 tackles, they're starting to get a little bit more textbook as well. Making himself available, which is probably the hardest thing, to want the ball when you maybe don't want it. Which I could understand him when he's first starting out the game. You probably don't want it in them clutch moments. But particularly in that third, he was putting his hand up and making the runs and really trying to get involved in the game, which I think shows a level of maturity and a level of real commitment to the team. I really like what he's building. He's obviously, no disrespect to him, nowhere near the AFL standard as of yet, right? Let's be honest, because he's only just started it. But I'm really impressed with what I've seen so far. He's really building nicely. He's got some serious wheels on him, and he's got some serious skill. And as that starts to hone and it starts to become a bit more natural, look out for Rob, because I'm a big fan of the lad. Hudson O'Keefe, it was a tough one. So, I mean, he was working again with Murkoff, but what really impresses me, and they're not listed there, the 6 tackles. The 6 tackles. He was really strong in the defence, and I'm really happy with these second and third efforts. Alex Murkoff is slowly building a really nice game, and this is something that's going to really excite us, I feel, as we get a little bit further into the system. We're going to really appreciate what we see from him. And he was solid throughout, really doing the right things. You can see that he's really focusing on this, these craft, which you have to at this level. Do you know what I mean? We've got to be looking at this guy and thinking, yeah, he is going to try and get into the seniors. You've got to. And I feel like he's learning the trade. He's playing well, and he's getting around the level we want to see. I really do like his zip and his energy and how hard he works. He's working really hard off the ball, and that's the big thing. A lot of ruckmen, they do kind of go missing at times in game. Alex is Hudson is really making that apparent, that he's trying to affect the game in some shape or another. 6 out of 10 for him, really solid. Ashton Moyer, this kid's special, and his defensive craft was, I wouldn't say non-existent, that's probably harsh on him, but it was definitely something that wasn't as prolific as we're seeing at the moment. And to be the second most tackles of your team from a player who is that capable, really exciting to see. He's working ever so hard, is Alex Murkoff. I mean, is Ashton Moore, and I'm really enjoying what I'm seeing. He's working hard. He's working hard defensively, but then his presentation is really good. And one of the goals at the end was a free kick, and it has to be said, what was amazing about that is just how hard he is to stop. He's a walking free kick magnet in the seniors, I feel, because of how strict they do the rules. And you really saw in this, he leads intelligently, he gets in front really quickly, and he gets there in front and he's begging for the free kick. A third option for Carlton is a must for me. It's something that we're really lacking at the moment. It's a definite hole in the system. And with them tackles, that is telling me that if he comes in, He isn't going to be like Jack Martin, where we're like, well, what's he going to do if he doesn't get any touches, Pommy? You know, that's genuinely the argument with Jack Martin. What's he going to do if he isn't kicking goals? I think this showcases his defence. His 3 goals were absolutely spectacular. He took them incredibly well. I feel that he isn't far away. My gut is he isn't far away. Now, I know that a lot of people kind of want to hold him back and stuff, and I understand that. He's a young kid. But for me, if you're good enough, you're good enough. And the hole is there. The hole is certainly there for a young lad like him to come in and do some damage very early doors. He isn't far away, I'm telling you now. I wouldn't be surprised to see him named in the next week or so. He is working incredibly hard on his game, and he's really showcasing he's a little bit of a threat. I'm telling you now, he's a little bit of a threat in this system. So really good from Ashton. The fact he's brought the defence, the fact he's got that attack already, he's going to be one to look out for in the next couple of weeks. Big game from him, 9 out of 10. For me, was easily the best on the ground. Easily the best on the ground in the way of forwards. He took his opportunities well and was everything. And the return of Murkoff, it was a sight for sore eyes to see Alex back out there. Real Donovan didn't do much around the ground. I want to see him work a little bit with Mark Pitternet here. Because Pitternet's someone who's very similar to him, learning his trade and trying to add a bit more. But bearing in mind he hasn't played football for what feels like donkey's years, it was a solid return. And he did everything he had to in the ruck. He dominated the ruck. So I wanted him to get back to where he was last year, which will come with match fitness, but real solid hit out for him. And good to see Murkoff back. That's the VFL wrap. Let me know what caught your eye. Make sure you look out for Heath Ramshaw and Ned Cahill. There'll definitely be 2 that will be talked about with the growing list spots available at this football club. Peace, love, and light. Till next time, Pom out.
I see her rolling up, Uber black Cadillac, high heel boots and a sexy body full of tats. Baby's bad, oh